Bom dia a todos e todas, obrigada pela paciência. Vamos então iniciar o nosso evento de encerramento do projeto de internacionalização CAPES Print, do programa de pós-graduação em Direito Político e Econômico. In attention to Professor Casey, I think I will be doing this in English, if it's okay for everyone. I think everyone will be able to understand. So again, good morning. We are happy to initiate our closing event of the Internationalization CAPES Print project of the postgraduate program in Political and Economic Law here at Mackenzie University. As our university is a confessional one, we will begin with Reverendo Bruno Borges. Please come. The floor is yours. Thank you.
Bom dia a todos, sempre uma honra estar aqui com vocês e falar a respeito da palavra de Deus, que aquece o nosso coração, nos orienta, nos deixa mais habilitados e capacitados a conhecermos a Deus, aquele que nos deu a vida e é aquele que tem nos sustentado. Bem, eu quero saudar aqui a todos os professores, os estudantes, de maneira especial o Dr. Felipe Chiarello, o Dr. Fernando Rister, sempre muito solícito, né? Sempre muito bom poder encontrá-los. E, meus queridos, eu quero começar lendo um texto que está lá no Evangelho de Mateus, no capítulo 5, versículo 9. Esse trecho aqui do Evangelho de Mateus é um trecho em que o Senhor Jesus Cristo faz uma longa pregação ou a longa exposição sobre valores do reino dele. Por vezes tentaram tornar o Senhor Jesus Cristo o rei dos judeus ali naquele período do primeiro século. Só que ele, por diversas vezes, mostrou que o reino dele era de natureza espiritual. E então, nesse capítulo 5, 6 e 7, o Senhor Jesus Cristo está falando dos valores do reino dele. E ele fala o seguinte: bem-aventurados os pacificadores, porque serão chamados filhos de Deus. Nós vivemos em um mundo onde conflitos, divisões parecem prevalecer a todo momento, seja no ambiente pessoal, social e até mesmo no ambiente internacional, que nós temos visto a tensão internacional crescendo. Em um contexto de globalização e interação entre diferentes culturas e ideias, como no caso de projetos de internacionalização, surgem muitos desafios que exigem mais do que apenas um conhecimento técnico. O que o mundo realmente precisa são de pessoas capazes de construir pontes, promover a paz, resolver os conflitos de maneira justa e digna. Jesus, aqui no Sermão do Monte, traz um ensinamento profundo sobre o papel de pacificadores. Ele os chama de bem-aventurados, ou seja, felizes, abençoados, e os identifica como filhos de Deus. Isso nos leva a refletir sobre o que significa ser um pacificador e por que esse papel é tão valorizado por Deus. Então, vamos buscar responder essas duas perguntas. Primeiro, o que é ser um pacificador? Ser um pacificador vai além de simplesmente evitar conflitos e manter uma harmonia superficial. Às vezes nós pensamos que sermos passivos, não brigarmos com as pessoas já é o suficiente. Mas o termo bíblico aqui para paz, vem do hebraico, significa shalom, indica muito mais do que só não brigar. Indica plenitude, integridade, bem-estar. Então, o pacificador é aquele que, seguindo o exemplo de Cristo, busca promover uma paz verdadeira, que restaura relacionamentos, equilibra diferenças e promove a justiça. Então, não é aquele apenas que evita se desentender com outra pessoa, mas é uma pessoa que busca equalizar ou melhorar a relação entre as pessoas. Jesus não apenas foi um pacificador em palavras, mas em ação. Ele, de maneira bem objetiva, reconciliou a humanidade com Deus por meio da sua vida, morte e ressurreição, oferecendo a paz definitiva com o Criador. Ser pacificador, portanto, implica em trabalhar pela reconciliação, tanto entre as pessoas quanto entre a humanidade e Deus. Mas, em segundo lugar, por que os pacificadores são chamados de filhos de Deus? Ser chamado filho de Deus é uma designação honrosa e profunda. Na cultura bíblica, os filhos carregam os traços e características dos pais. Naquela época, uma pessoa que era filho de alguém que trabalhava em alguma coisa, um carpinteiro, o filho seria carpinteiro naturalmente. Hoje já não temos mais isso. Mas a verdade é que um filho teria as características profissionais, de comportamento do seu pai. Então, nesse contexto, quando somos pacificadores, nós refletimos o caráter de Deus. É ser um filho de Deus de fato. Em sua essência, Deus é um Deus de paz. Deus não apenas valoriza a paz, mas Ele mesmo agiu para reconciliar o mundo consigo. Assim, quando promovemos a paz de forma genuína, estamos imitando o caráter de Deus e sendo reconhecidos como seus filhos. E Jesus é o exemplo perfeito do Filho de Deus que trouxe paz ao mundo. Ele é descrito no livro do profeta Isaías, muitos anos antes dele, lá em Isaías 9:8, como o príncipe da paz. Aquele que nos ensina que a verdadeira paz é alcançada através do amor, da justiça, da reconciliação. Portanto, ao agirmos como pacificadores, seguimos os passos de Cristo, manifestando a compaixão e a graça que Ele demonstrou. Diante disso, surge para nós algumas lições, algumas coisas que é importante colocarmos em prática na nossa vida. Primeiro, a importância de sermos agentes da reconciliação. Ficou claro aqui que a paz não é algo que vem de maneira passiva, ela exige ação. Em nosso contexto atual, seja nas interações pessoais ou até mesmo no cenário global, há inúmeras oportunidades de sermos pacificadores. Isso significa ouvir, entender, trabalhar para resolver conflitos com empatia e respeito em relação ao outro. Mas também, mais do que evitar apenas confrontos, é promover a justiça e restaurar relacionamentos quebrados. Mas, em segundo lugar, eu quero encorajá-lo a promover a paz interior das pessoas, e justamente por meio da pessoa bendita de Cristo. Para sermos pacificadores no mundo, precisamos primeiro experimentar em nós a paz que Cristo oferece ao coração de cada um. A paz interior que Ele nos dá nos capacita a sermos instrumentos de paz no ambiente onde vivemos e trabalhamos. Veja, se nós não temos paz em nosso coração, como que seremos pacificadores? Até o poeta, o cantor brasileiro, dizia que aquele que não tem paz interna, aquele que tem paz, ele não quer guerra com ninguém. E é justamente isso. Se temos uma paz em nosso coração, nós não queremos brigar com as pessoas e nem briga entre as pessoas. Então, seja no contexto profissional, acadêmico, que as nossas atitudes sejam marcadas por isso, pela promoção da paz, primeiro uma paz interior, que reflete numa paz na nossa relação com os demais. E Jesus nos chama a ser pacificadores, pessoas que não apenas evitam conflitos, mas que ativamente trabalham para a reconciliação e pela justiça. E ao fazermos isso, iremos demonstrar ainda mais a pessoa bendita de Deus, e iremos refletir a imagem de filhos de Deus. Assim seremos vistos como filhos de Deus, pessoas que estabelecem a paz. Então, que possamos, à luz desse chamado, sermos promotores da paz em todas as esferas da vida, tanto nas questões acadêmicas, nas relações profissionais que temos, mas também dentro da nossa própria casa. Às vezes a nossa casa é um campo de guerra, e que nós possamos ser pessoas que promovem a paz na nossa casa, promovemos a paz também no nosso ambiente de trabalho, e certamente todas as pessoas haverão de olhar para nós e vermos como filhos de Deus que nós somos, parecidos com o Senhor Jesus Cristo. Então que o Deus da paz, que estabeleceu a paz conosco por meio de Cristo, dê a paz ao coração de cada um de vocês, traga a paz dele a esse evento, e que vocês tenham uma semana abençoada debaixo da paz dele. Eu quero concluir esse breve momento devocional com uma oração muito rápida, pedindo a Deus que abençoe cada um de vocês, os seus familiares e esse evento. Senhor Deus, nós te agradecemos porque quando muitas vezes estamos angustiados, ansiosos, e nós buscamos a tua presença, o Senhor nos dá uma paz que muitas vezes não entendemos. E é possível que algum de nós esteja passando por um momento de angústia, de grande dificuldade, que o Senhor dê paz ao coração dessa pessoa aqui nessa manhã, Pai. Pedimos também que as nossas casas possam ser um lugar de paz, o nosso ambiente de trabalho, que sejamos promotores da paz onde quer que formos. Que a tua paz e a tua bênção esteja sobre esse evento em todo momento. Nós oramos gratos em nome do Senhor Jesus Cristo. Amém. Amém. Deus os abençoe, queridos.
Obrigada, reverendo. So now we will start composing our table with Professor Casey Cassandra Thompson, who is visiting us here for Master and PhD programs from Duke University, from the United States. Thank you for coming. And also Professor Emilio Santoro, who is also visiting our Master and PhD programs as a visiting professor from Florence University in Italy. Thank you, Professor, for coming. And now our professors, starting with Professor Felipe Chiarello, who is the Dean of our law school and is also full professor of our Master and PhD programs. Thank you, Professor, for joining us. And Professor Fabio Bechara, who is also a full professor at our Master and PhD program. Thank you, Professor, for also joining with us. I would like to also acknowledge that we have here with us Professor Fernando Rister, who is our coordinator and full professor at the Master and PhD program. Thank you, Professor, for helping us with everything. So our three professors here from Mackenzie are also coordinators in our internationalization projects from the CAPES Sprint. So it is an honor to have you all here. Thank you so much. And I would like to give you the floor, Professor Casey, for those insightful words, especially for us at the economic power and its legal limits. And I'm pretty sure that the students at the mini course for this week will be really happy to know you and to hear from you. So I would like to ask if we have any questions for Professor Casey at this time. Not yet. So we'll keep going. And to be fair, we change a little bit for Italian. Quindi per presentare il professore Emilio, che viene dall'Università degli Studi di Firenze e parlerà per la nostra linea di ricerca su cittadinanza. Professore Emilio, per favore. Grazie. Vuoi rimanere lì?
No. Okay. I will speak in English, and then I hope this is the best choice, even in case you can understand me. And, when Fernando asked me to talk here, my reaction, I was happy because it was the opportunity to come back to Mackenzie. Was at least 2 years and a half I was missing Mackenzie, and then I was really happy. Then I try to ask what I have to talk about. Because Fernando explaining me that this is the closing event of a project in which I took part, and then I decided to talk about what I have to say, my relationship with Mackenzie and Brazil, the way in which this project interact with this relationship, and the way in which this project has been the incubator for many other projects and ideas. That's what I try to do. I hope it's the right thing. If it's not the right thing, sorry. Excuse me. And first of all, I am in the University of Florence. This is the logo of the University of Florence, because now you don't have any identity if you don't have a logo. And peace to Naomi Campbell. And at that point, the University of Florence made in the last 20 years 14 agreements with the Brazilian university. I am the coordinator of 12 of them. the Mackenzie, but you see there is the University Fluminense. The first one was the UFPB, the Universidad Federal of Paraíba, which was my first encounter with Brazil. Was the end of the last millennium, 1990. And then we developed all these agreements of cultural cooperation. And this project was part of the implementation of the agreement with the Mackenzie. With 3 of these universities, we have, let me say, a framework agreement of co-tutorship for PhD students. There are at the moment 3 PhD students of Mackenzie, which are part of this, we are in that project of co-tutorship. One is Milena, the other one is Giovanna, and the third one at the moment is in Florence. We made an exchange. Raphael is there, I am here. And then we are in the process of renewing this framework agreement for PhD students. The PhD students, part of this agreement, will take the double title, the Brazilian PhD and the Italian PhD title. Okay. Then, in that period, we made 2 agreements with the CAPES. I'd say 2 because one was made, both was made by me, but one was made by me as part of the University of Florence. The other was made by me as the director of an inter-university research center in Italy. You see, both of these agreements, this was the more or less the aim of the 2 agreements, what I put in the slide, and is to develop, let me say, the co-tutorship, and to have the money for allowing Brazilian students to come to Italy and Italian students to come to Brazil. I have to say that in few months, maybe at the beginning of, or in the middle of the next year, one of my PhD students will come to the Mackenzie. Orlando will be his supervisor. The Inter-University Center is this one. The name is L'Altro Diritto. At the moment, in Italy, this center is composed by 19 Italian universities. And I put this because a lot of my colleagues of different universities taking part to the center were in Mackenzie in the last period. The last one, I think, is Giorgio Pino from the University of Roma 3. But, sorry, before him was, there were here Enrica Rigo, always from the Roma 3, and Aldo Schiavello from Palermo. Maybe I forgot someone, but I'm not sure. However, these are the 19 universities, part to the research center. Ecco, vado questo, ok. Ok. No. Ok. The Inter-University Center has started a book series, I quaderni dell'altro diritto is the title of the book series, which has published 15 volumes and a journal, L'Altro Diritto, the journal, which is an open access journal. Now, in this way, okay. if I touch something, it's moving very quickly. Okay. And now we have, this is the 70th year of publication of the journal. This is the journal, l'altro di vista, and it's very sensible in this way. You see, the topic of the Inter-University Center are jail, deviance, marginality, and the government of migration. And at this topic, the journal is devoted. These are the bureaucratic information about the journal, because nowadays, when you have to choose a way, the place in which you have to publish, you must pay attention to the bureaucratic characteristic of the journal, and maybe yes. But, thank you for me. No, it's on. Okay. Yeah, thank you. And then you see that these are the academic field, let me put in this way, in which the journal is recognized by the scientific community. These are the index database. The area are historical, philosophical, educational, and psychological science, legal science, political and social science. The journal accepts and publishes a manuscript in the Italian, Spanish, Portuguese, French, English. We have already published many articles by Brazilian scholars in Portuguese. I have to say that 25 years ago, I decided that when I write something in English, I want to publish it in a Brazilian journal. This is my commitment to the south of the world, let me put it in this way. And then I never published something in American or English journals, always in Brazilian journal. This is a choice, a commitment. Then the next issues of the journal, the one which will appear at the end of this year, or maybe at the beginning, because every journal is also released later, and then we will be in March maybe, will be composed mainly of articles by Portuguese scholars, because we will publish all the papers presented in the symposium that we have at the beginning of the 23 in Florence, was a doctoral symposium Italo-Brazilian. The structure of the symposium was that a Brazilian scholar presented the paper and one or two Italian scholars discuss the paper. And this was, for instance, the professor, the scholar from Mackenzie, who took part in the symposium and presented the paper. Orlando, Giampaolo, Fernando, and Milena was discussing the paper of Claudia Toledo, that at the moment was the president of the CAPES. About the citizen, because as Milena remember, as the line in which I took part was the citizen. For instance, this is the volume of the journal about special issue on labor exploitation. And there was the 22 number of the journal. These are the article. I I choose this issue of the journal because as I conclude my presentation, we have with McKinsey now a project on labor exploitation. This is the book series. I choose Fernando books as example for the book series. May I go back? Wait, aspetta. No. No, ho sbagliato. Eccolo. These are the... No? Ah. Why? Perché non esce da quello? Voglio uscire da quello e presentare questo? I need the artificial intelligence because is not enough. Okay. These are the book of the book series published until now. You can have a look. Many of them are about topics related to citizenship. Yeah, okay. For instance, okay, I go back to the presentation. It should be in this way. It works, and then no. Quello, sì, era piccolo. Ok. Okay, the technology. Then the other, let me say, work related to the project were the work of the legal clinic. These are all the legal clinic which are somehow related to the Inter-University Research Center. We have 6 legal clinics in Florence, 1 in Palermo, 1 in Rome, 3 in Ferrara, 2 in Turin, 1 in Bari, 1 in Genoa. These are all the legal clinics. You see, most of them are related to the rights of migrants and asylum seekers. Some of them are related to the rights of people in jail, prisoners. This is more or less the general framework. I want to emphasize the legal clinic which we have in Florence, which is the fight for rights in the European Court of Human Rights. Because this is something, let me say, quite new. And for instance, a month ago, I was in Strasbourg with 11, 12 students of the legal clinic, and they could be present in a great chamber decision in Strasbourg of the European Court of Human Rights. I stress this clinic because this clinic has had a development related to the Italian and Brazilian collaboration, let me put. 2 legal clinics in Florence, which are based not usually as the American tradition. Learning by doing is, let me say, the motto of the legal clinic, but is based on the idea learning by caring. And this is because there are one legal clinic on the asylum seeker rights, fundamental rights, and the other one of the fundamental rights of people imprisoned. And in both cases I show you, my students have 2 possibilities. One is to work with the judges, not the barrister, with the judges. And they can understand how to use the state power on the life of persons. they stay with the surveillance judges of the court in Florence. And I split the students in two groups. One is going to work with the judges. The other group is going to work with the people of an association working in the protection of rights of prisoners, and they go inside the jails and do legal counseling to the prisoners. And this is very important because this is the reason for which we start even the clinic about the European Court of Human Rights, because some of the acts that we are preparing for prisoners are not directed to the Italian court, but the Human Rights Court in Strasbourg. Okay. And then the students learn to prepare this act and appeal in a certain sense if it's not correct, even if it's not correct. And especially they empowered to deal with people in jail, to care about the life of people in jail. The same things is more or less for the legal clinic on asylum seekers. There are the fundamental rights of asylum seeker. Even in this case, I split my students in two groups, one working with the judges, and even with the administrative body, which have to decide at the first step on the status of the asylum seekers. They work with them and they see and can understand how the state power impact on the life of migrants. And the other groups of students is going in the centers in which the asylum seekers are collected, waiting for the decision about their status, helping them to prepare the request of asylum and then the appeal against the possible denial of the asylum. The legal clinic that we developed with Brazil, this started in the COVID period. Maybe it's, let me say, it's a gift of the COVID, let me put it in this way. We started from our experience on the legal clinic about the European Court of Human Rights, and we decided to have a comparison between standing for his or her own rights in front of European Court and in front of the American Court of Human Rights. And then we developed this, let me say, web clinic, let me put it in this way, online clinic, and this allowed to put together, I have to say, even USA students, because the University of Arizona took part to this clinic. And what I want to stress is that with me, the other professor of this clinic were Luciano Maismaga, that maybe someone of you know is a professor in UFMB, but is the vice federal prosecutor in Brazil, and now is the candidate to be the member of the OPCAT, the Organism for Prevention of Torture of the United Nations. The other one is Paulo Pinto de Albuquerque, that at that time was still judge of the European Court of Human Rights. And now we had a colleague of mine organized the publication of the dissenting opinion of Paulo Pinto de Albuquerque. We had in Italian, now it has been translated in Brazil, in Portuguese. Just 10 days ago it was published. Maybe we can organize in the Mackenzie presentation of the book. I already talked to Paulo, and Paulo told me that he will be happy to come, and then we can organize. Are two big books, I have to say. We work a lot for producing it. And Daniela Ranalli, who was my former student, now is working in a special body of the Council of Europe, which is the body in charge for the enforcing of the sentence, because the European Court of Human Rights has this peculiarity. It has a body for the enforcing, peculiarity for an international court. It has a body for the enforcing of its sentence. A development of that clinic that we had for 2 years, now we are discussing if to renew for this year's academic years, was these seminars that we made in Rio, which was organized with the Procuraduría General do Estado de Rio and with the Defensoría of the Estado de Rio, and many of the university in which we have agreement or of the center. This is the last part, the new project. The project about labor exploitation is the Erasmus Plus project. The title is Free Asset, Fighting Labor Exploitation Through Education, Agricultural Sector Specialist Training. You know, it's Erasmus, and then it's about training, and it's in the mentality of the European Union, which is putting the money, a colonialistic project. The Europe should teach to Brazil and Latin America how to fight labor exploitation. Instead, we construct a project based on cooperation, interchange, because there are very different, very interesting point of view of this, especially legal instrument for fighting this phenomenon. These are the university involved. You see there are 3 universities which are part of the My Brazilian network: Mackenzie, the University of Victoria, and Unicinos. But there are 3 European universities, let me say, from the Latin Europe, Spanish, Portugal, and Italy, and university from Uruguay, Paraguay, and Argentina. And one, Manuel, was here, was from Argentina. This is more or less the topic of the project, but the idea is to construct a system for teaching is too much, for trying to explain and to learn, because often you learn by the operators that are directly in contact with the phenomenon, how to fight in the different context the phenomenon of labor exploitation. Thank you.
Grazie mille, professor Emilio, come sempre, compartilhando la tua grande conoscenza e il tuo meraviglioso lavoro. Grazie. Torno all'inglese, so I can go back to English, Professor Casey. So thank you, Professor Emilio. And now, do we have any questions at this moment? No? So we can keep going. So now I ask Professor Felipe Chiarello. He will be representing our university and our program and our law school. Thank you so much. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Milena. It's great to have you all here. I want to give a special thanks to our presentations today, Casey, Emilio, and my dear friend Bechara. It's great to have you all here. This partnership is very important for us. I was planning to say one or two things about the program of CAPES. CAPES Print was outstanding for us to exchange hemispheres, to talk what we can do in academic fields, what we can do to improve our insertion in the whole world, and how Brazil can especially when I was studying, I was thinking about one thing that I want to say. When I was studying, we used to say that law in the United States is very different from Brazil, and the way that you study is very different, because you know that thing that common law and civil law and how it works, the system of the courts. But when I was at Yale University with Professor Manuel, we saw that we should discuss the same problems, we are passing through the same things, we are passing to the same stuff that we gotta discuss together. And things that we saw today, they were actually some of the things that we have to struggle every day in our classrooms, and we gotta discuss. So, for instance, it's very important for us to exchange this knowledge and be able to apply some things that we have the same things to discuss. So for us, Prince was amazing for the Mackenzie University. Was one of the few universities that was prized with this money from the government in Brazil, because we made very important and quality research here, and we are on one of the top law schools in Brazil, and all the ranks, but our students are the most important persons that says this, and we are very proud to be Mackenzie. That's what we say always. For us, it's great to have you all, the PhD students here. I want to also thank the APG, that is the students' representative. João Marcelac is here to represent the APG, but I want to thank you all for being here, and Professor Ariel also. It's great to have you here. And I was thinking about the thing that we actually did with Professor Hister and all the PhD program along of this few years that we have Prince in Brazil. Milena, for instance, did a great job applying for several universities, and she told us that Florence is outstanding university and a beautiful place, and I saw it by my own eyes because I've been there. And you know, we gotta exchange this papers that Emilio said, the publications. So I want to thank CAPES for everything that the program did for us, and I want to thank especially our professors and their professors to exchange this knowledge along this time. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Felipe. So, Professor Fabio, do you want to continue, and then we can ask if we have any questions? Thank you.
May I? Morning, everyone. Dear Professor Felipe, dear Professor Emilio, dear Professor Kathy, dear students. I remember many years ago when Felipe asked me to represent our law school on developing this project. I remember 2018. And we have started writing this with the engineering program, architecture, economic administration, etc., education, school. I came to Felipe and I said, oh my God, I'm crazy. I don't know how can we join our thoughts, efforts, and understandings. And he said to me, take patience. And after 2 or 3 months later, we finally wrote the project, and we have submitted the project. And in the end of, and I think 6 months later, Mackenzie granted the prize. Only 2 private law schools in Brazil. The other 38 universities around the country were public universities. So we were very, very, very proud of it. And we know that it would be a big task to be followed. And we engage everyone, all the professors. I should recognize here the leadership of Professor Felipe Chiarello during this journey, all the time. And we are very proud that all the results that we have achieved make us not only better, but provide us the opportunity to upgrade our rank position to the top of particular and public universities and research centers in the country. We developed many different agreements, not only with United States, the most important European countries such as Italy, Spain, French, UK, but also with China, but also with Africa, Angola, for example, Morocco, South America with Colombia, Chile, Argentina, Bolivia, but also with Asia, Indonesia, Australia, and other different countries, and we have tried to pursue all the track, all the task, and all the track that the CAPES asked us to do. We host many important professors here, such as you. We send so many research and students abroad, such as Milena, Clara, and many others. Fernando Medici, who is now at American University, for example. And this movement became a natural habit within our program. And I think that when Felipe and Ismanuel many years ago have started talking about the internationalization process, they always said that we should have identified the way that internationalization can be done by everyone. It should be a very simple process, not a complex or sophisticated process. And we have here many different successful experience, people who stayed more than 1 year, people who stayed only a month, 2 months, a weeks abroad, but this process became very natural within our law school. So today, of course, I think we are celebrating this moment with all of you, especially because more than recognize that I think we did a very good job, but I'm really convinced that we have moved forward, because more than interact with international and foreign researchers, we have been focusing on using this relationship to impact the global reality in different levels: local, national, regional, and universally. And I think this should be our mindset within this process. We should believe that we can support and help the world. The world needs the universities. And we know that the more we foster this relationship between the university and policymakers, we will add value to our research projects, and we will reduce the risk of a misunderstanding or a bad decision in public policies. So I would like to express my gratitude to Felipe Chiarello, to Mackenzie University, to all our students and researchers, and to all of you who accept to come to Brazil, who accept to host us abroad, and I'm really sure that all this relationship, it has a very important point that it begins, but it will never end. I'm sure that we will have so many things to do. I'm convinced that we have so many things to contribute, and I'm sure that the world needs us all together, all the time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Fábio.
Milena, I just want to point one thing that is, it's important, just one mark that I wanted to say. I was hearing Bechara talking, and I remembered that one thing that Emilio said, that his student will come to Brazil to work with Orlando Vilas Boas. After print became a reality, to receive a lot of these foreign students from the United States and Europe to study here at Mackenzie University. Actually, we have like some students of Duke University. They are doing the grad study here in Brazil, and Duke will be validating the credits here. So it's very important for us to be an option, a great option for exchange this knowledge. And also, we are the only one public or private school in Brazil that has dual degree with the United States in the grad studies. So for us, I just wanted to point those two things and say that how print was great for our internationalization and our knowledge here about those things. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor Felipe. Actually, thank you for you both and for all the professors and also all the people who does administrative, bureaucratic work. Those people, with those people, really contributes to make our dreams come true. And so now we are coming to an end. We will start watching a video, a small video from Rafaela, who is was not able to be here with us today because she is currently at Duke University. So.
Olá, bom dia a todos. Eu espero que o evento esteja maravilhoso. Eu vou começar esse vídeo me apresentando. O meu nome é Rafaela Jansen. Eu sou mestranda no programa de pós-graduação em Direito Político e Econômico, aí na nossa Universidade Presbiteriana Mackenzie. Antes de iniciar, eu também gostaria de fazer alguns agradecimentos à CAPES e também à Universidade Presbiteriana Mackenzie. Honestamente, não há lugar em que eu sinta a maior sensação de pertencimento do que aí, então eu agradeço do fundo do meu coração a todos os funcionários e a todo o corpo docente, em especial aos professores Felipe Chiarello, que foi quem me incentivou a perseguir o sonho da internacionalização, ao professor Pedro Buck e ao professor José Carlos Meirelles. Muito obrigada a todos. Bom, no momento eu estou aqui na Universidade de Duke, participando como Visiting Scholar de um programa de capacitação do CAPES Print. E para mim é uma honra poder estar aqui falando com vocês sobre como essa experiência tem sido para mim. poucos minutos, são poucos, para explicar o quanto essa experiência tem me modificado, tem me transformado em uma pessoa e também uma profissional melhor, realmente mais capacitada. Como vocês podem ver, o campus aqui é lindo. Eu estou na frente da Faculdade de Direito, mas além da beleza, há muitos pontos interessantes aqui na faculdade que eu gostaria de trazer para vocês. Primeiro são as aulas. Elas são muito diferentes do Brasil, não tanto qualitativamente, claro, porque nós temos professores excelentes, mas culturalmente mesmo. Aqui existem vários tipos diferentes de aula e as salas de aula se adequam à aula que nós vamos ter. Então nós temos aulas de simulação, que são dadas em determinada sala, aulas de expositivas, que são dadas em outro tipo de sala, tudo isso pensando no aprendizado do aluno. Aqui a participação do aluno ela é muito valorizada e tanto as aulas quanto as salas são configuradas de uma forma para que isso sempre aumente e seja incentivado. Outra questão que realmente me chamou muita atenção positivamente é a preocupação que a universidade aqui tem com o bem-estar dos alunos. A grande maioria dos alunos aqui reside no campus, então o campus ele é bem construído pensando no bem-estar dessas pessoas. Várias refeições são fornecidas de forma grátis. Inclusive, todos os dias nós temos palestras às 12h30, em que a refeição é gratuita para todas as pessoas que atenderem essas palestras. Além disso, eles têm um centro de bem-estar dos alunos, em que eles têm acompanhamento psicológico, com médicos, com dentistas e um momento de relaxamento mesmo, em que eles podem tocar piano, sentar e olhar a paisagem. Às vezes tem aulas de meditação, de pintura, dentre outras. Então há uma preocupação muito grande aqui com o próprio bem-estar dos alunos, isso é muito interessante. Outra questão também que me chamou bastante atenção é como o pesquisador é valorizado aqui dentro da universidade. Todas as atividades de pesquisa elas são remuneradas. Há pesquisadores que trabalham na própria biblioteca e outros que são contratados pelos próprios professores para tarefas específicas. Mas há uma valorização muito grande desse campo aqui. A biblioteca ela é enorme, ela tem 4 andares de livros, não só norte-americanos aqui dos Estados Unidos, mas do mundo todo, inclusive do Brasil, e de professores que estavam na nossa semana jurídica, o que me deu muito orgulho. Mas, enfim, além desses pontos que eu destaquei, eu não tenho palavras para agradecer, como está sendo enriquecedor para mim, para a minha pesquisa do mestrado e para as minhas pesquisas futuras do doutorado, de artigos, eu estar aqui. Eu me sinto uma profissional agora muito mais completa. E é isso. Então eu espero que o evento seja maravilhoso. Foi um prazer conversar com vocês. E a gente se vê por aí nos corredores do Mackenzie.
Yeah. So thank you, Rafaela, from the United States. And I was asked to share a little bit of my individual experience with Project CAPES Print CAPES, because as a student, I believe I have a long history with the project. I started working within the Print CAPES project here at our program in 2020, when I was yet at my first year of my master. And I worked with a team in organizing a very interesting event with the Yale Global Justice Program and Quinnipiac University, which was really great. We had publications from these studies on global justice and on SDGs, ending poverty. At that time, we also had classes. We also had a course on SDGs, on public policies, on ending poverty. And when I started my PhD in 2022, I already started it thinking on the joint degree with, because my research is on immigrants' labor. And it was really important for me to be able to do this research also with a country which we believe it's different from Brazil. And then I had the pleasure and the happy result. I was able to go to Florence University. Professor Emilio, who is here, is my advisor. And I was able to go there with a CAPES print funding. So I lived there for 6 months doing my research. I brought so many content from Florence. I am still working and I am still studying everything I was able to gather there. And during those months, I was able to participate on Professor Emilio's classes on immigrants and foreign legal rights, which makes total difference for my research on this Italian part. I was also able to go to some classes from the clinic. He was presenting. I unfortunately couldn't go to the practical ones because I was already back in Brazil, but I was able to see and to accompany a little bit this amazing work they do there. And going even a little bit further than only going places, we also receive those amazing visiting professors. And last year, for example, we had Professor David Mombari, who came from Belgium, gave us a course on, teached us a course on memory politics, which was really amazing. I can see some colleagues here who attended. And from this course, I am still working with a Brazilian colleague here from Mackenzie and with an Italian colleague who was here from University of Florence at the time. We're working on a paper on domestic labor and memory politics, which we hope will bring us interesting insights. And we also had Professor Sujata Gadkar-Wilcox teaching us comparative constitutional law. We learned not only about the United States, she came from the Quinnipiac University, not only about United States constitutional law, but also Indian constitutional law. We were able to share our insights from Brazilian constitutional law. And from this visit she did here, I had the opportunity to attend a workshop on artificial intelligence and human rights at Oxford University last July. And this is not directly linked from print, but it's indirectly, because without print, she would not been able to come here, and I would not been able to meet her and go to this. So receiving visiting professors is a wonderful experience. We learn a lot. We learned also about activism in human rights, which for us in Brazil, it's really, really important. And Professor Emilio was also talking about our research project within the Erasmus program. I am also a researcher in this project, thanks to Professor Santoro and Professor Hister, and thanks to my PhD, Prince CAPES financial support. So I keep thinking, this is my individual experience, and I may get emotional. And for me, it's amazing that I was able to attend to all these incredible opportunities of learning and sharing about Brazil. It's really fortunate that Professor Emilio and everyone I am able to meet
outside Brazil are really interested in our research. So we are not only learning, but we are able to share Brazilian experience. So I'm really grateful to Print CAPES. I'm really grateful for you all. This is a beautiful experience for us Brazilians, so we can work a way to make Brazil better. Thank you. Thank you. Does someone want to share some insights or do any questions? Do you have any questions? No? So thank you again in the name of all the students for Print CAPES in the first place. We are really working for making a good path for all of us here in Brazil. Thank you so much for our visiting professors, for sharing your knowledge, for coming here, for receiving us, and thank you our professors for all the work you credited us. So I think we can now officially close our project. Do you want to?
I just want to have a special thanks to all the people here that work at the Print CAPES, all the other programs, all the people from NAP, that is the Center of Projects here in Mackenzie, the Department of Projects about academic, and all the leaders of the university that made it possible. The provost, and also the rector. Thank you so much. Thank you.